Very good evening. Thank you for joining Sri Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We'll be continuing from chapter 2, that is Sankhyayoga, the yoga of knowledge, and we will be learning about marks of the man of stable mind as described by Lord Sri Krishna. How does he live? How does he stand? How does he sit? How does he talk? And his glories. So we are actually come towards the end of this chapter. I'm going to do a quick recap of what we learned in the last satsang. So Lord Sri Krishna has been imparting to Arjuna a very important lesson. Please remember, had Arjuna understood this lesson which the Lord has imparted to him, there wouldn't have been 18 chapters. Since Arjuna could not understand the teachings of Lord Sri Krishna because he was not able to, imbibe it immediately and apply it in his, in his life at that moment, which is just to lift his bow and arrow and shoot, which is to fight the battle, which he was not able to. So he was asking too many questions. Now, since the question has begun, the Lord is answering to him. Now, the question asked by Arjuna was, what is the mark of a man who has stable mind, tranquility? How does he sit, stand, conduct himself, so on and so forth. Now, in this entire chapter, Lord Sri Krishna has described very nicely to Arjuna that what is most important in our life is that we all have to do our dharma and duties born of this body. Because we have taken a body, we will have to do our prescribed duties as per our karma, which is, if you are a Kshatriya, your duty is to fight. So Arjuna is a born warrior. He's a Kshatriya. He comes from the lineage of a Kshatriya. So he has to fight. He can't tell, I will not fight. He can't say, I'm not going to kill. But that is the Kshatriya dharma. Dharma is what? That which you are supposed to do, born of the body. So if you are a Brahman, you have to teach, you have to do that which is prescribed as per your, the lineage that you come from, not even the lineage, the caste that you come from. Now, what is happening is Arjuna has been infatuated. He is feeling very emotional. Why does that happen? Because he's attached. The attachment to saying it's my people, my kith and kin, my body, it's my kingdom. Why should I kill somebody? So all those are called attachments, and he's also infatuated at the time when he has to fight. So we also deter in our life. So the Lord has taught us, like Arjuna, that your duty is to fight alone. Your right is to fight alone. That is to work alone. But you're not supposed to be bothered about the end results. End result is never in your hands. And then he spoke about the most important lesson, which is very difficult even for the great beings to achieve, and that is called the equanimity of mind. Not sway, not sway between the pairs of opposites. And then he's talking about when the senses come in contact with the sense objects, then how do you conduct yourself? How do you, practice self-control? And he's saying, Arjuna, you be self-control is what he's saying. He's not saying I'm telling the world to be self-control, because this knowledge is not being given to the world. This knowledge is coming to only the chosen few. So here Arjuna is the one who's listening, and whoever has the privilege of getting this knowledge, they have to do this. Otherwise, then you're not even meant to be here. Please remember that very importantly, And even if you think you don't want to apply, that is a choice that is left to you. Sri Krishna is not going to do it for Arjuna. He is not going to fight the war. Please remember, he is only imparting that knowledge, the way of life. How do you conduct? What is your dharma? He is giving you a choice, but the choice is something you will have to exercise. The choice is given. If you do this, this will happen. You will be following the path of dharma, and you will be able to achieve the end goal of attaining your will. On the contrary, if you go against me and you're doing this, then you will have to face the repercussions that is going to come about, destiny. The destiny will take over your life. Then the karmas are going to stick to you, and then Lord also can't do anything because you haven't listened to him. You went against him. So when you go against him, then the karma is, everything comes to you alone. How much karma can the Lord also, take or try to save you? He's trying to save you. See, please remember, the Lord is a very beautiful being. And he's always telling you, don't do this. When he's saying, don't do this, you better listen. And if you don't listen, then you are going to follow the track of destiny. Then destiny takes over your life. Even the God can't save you at that time, because destiny has already taken over. This is exactly what my Krishna Guruji also does. He gives us a choice. He says, he knows our past, present and the future. Only the divine being, the great gurus know, the real master knows what is going to come about in our life. So he's going to give you a hint, he's going to give you a warning. He's saying, look, if you follow what I am saying, then you will not end up getting into this trouble. But if you go against me, destiny is anyway going to take over. And then it is very convenient to blame the God, the Guru, everybody else on the world for your own folly. This is what the human beings do. They will exactly do what they are not supposed to do, and then conveniently put all the blame on the God and on the Guru and people around them. They will blame the whole world, but not them. They will not take that responsibility. Why? Because we don't listen. Here also Arjuna is not listening to the Lord. Had he listened, we wouldn't have had the 18 chapters. Please remember this. So you need to understand your own nature, that your mind is not going to allow you to listen. And that time what you're going to commit those mistakes, those sins, which you have been very clearly warned, don't do this. And if you do, you have to then face the repercussions of that, event. Face the consequences of that action. The arrow has been shot. It has to meet his mark. Now, who's responsible? I'm telling you, many a time, my Guruji will give everybody an understanding. I faced that. I've learned the hard way. When I haven't listened to my Guru, his instructions, I have learned the hard way. I have fallen flat on my face and I have learned the hard way. This goes to anybody. There are no special conditions in this. Whether your Guru's favorite, not favorite, doesn't work. At the end of the day, the law of the universe is one alone for everybody. The Guru can only protect you to a certain extent. Beyond the point, he can't. Worst thing what will happen is like Jesus Christ. He's going to suffer he's going to be crucified for your own karma. Yeah, you're going to send him to heavens very soon. Not to heavens, the divine being is always around. But the body has to die, because the body can only take so much karma. And if you don't listen, he's going to suffer for it. Because he knows you're incapable, and how much he knows you're ignorant, but he accepts those karmas on himself. And that is why, that crucifixion represents the sufferings for others' sins. Others, whatever the other people commit the sins, he is suffering for that. Yeah, so that is very convenient. Yeah, you will go enjoy your life, you will be very happy, but you will actually crucify your Gurudev, your God, everybody you can crucify. That is what the world is. That is what the human nature, crass human nature. But here, the Lord is teaching Arjuna, don't do that. Listen to what I'm saying. Follow my, way of life. Follow that which I'm teaching you. Practice, strive for the sadhana. And if you do this, then you're also not going to incur karma. You will also follow the path of dharma while performing your swadharma, and which is an easy way to achieve God realization. But do we ever listen? No, we come into our ego, arrogance, false pride and what not. And that is why we not only ruin our own life but destroy everything else. We will want to come back and again in the bondage, in that muck that we live. We want to come back. We enjoy that muck of this life. We want to be associated with the same people again and again. Why do you want to get into karma with anybody? Why do you want to get into bondage of lifetimes? Redeem yourself in this very life of yours. God has given you a beautiful opportunity of this human birth. And you have the privilege, the grace of your Guru is there. You have, very few people get that. Born of your own good merits from your previous births, you have earned that in this life. So you have the grace that your Guru is with you and he's giving you this most beautiful knowledge. Why don't you use that today to redeem yourself and the people in your life? No, you don't want to. People think that, oh, okay, you know what, I'll give you, what happens? An apathetic attitude comes to a human being. Oh, my Guruji tells the same thing, and you know what? She's also giving the same nonsense. I'm tired of hearing. Apathetic attitude comes. A human being is this. Please remember, your mind, those are the demons. We recently entered the Devi Mahatmyam. In that, it's very beautifully described who these demons are. And constantly you will allow the demon to rise within you. Apathetic attitude. I don't want to learn. I am like this only. Why should I learn? So please go suffer. Go get into that gutter, go get into that karma and suffer for the rest of your life, not this life alone. Many lives of yours you're actually sanctioning. Even God can't save. See, the path of self-realization or God realization, if you have to redeem, you have to walk that path, living the teachings of what is being imparted by your Guru, your God, has to be followed. And if you don't, you are going to go into that gutters. Please remember, whether it is me or anybody in this world, any body, the body has to go through, because what we are not overcoming is the mind body. The mind body is going to be carried forward from this physical body to the other, because that is something, it's not going to go away. So you're going to go take another body and then go suffer. Not necessarily you're going to get a human birth. You can become a dog, you can become a cockroach or whatever in the next few lives of yours. Depending on how you live in this life, will you sanction yourself that womb where you will be born. So everything at the end of the day, what your future has to be or will be is totally dependent on you, how you live in this life. And if you bring your ego, arrogance and all sorts of tendencies and all the evil, the demonic qualities, then you will become the kida makoda, the creatures in which is in the mud. All those kind of things only you'll get. Those kind of bodies you'll get. So you be careful about how you want to live. So this is what the Lord is saying. Arjuna, at this time of the hour, how can an infatuation, get to you? How can you become like this? How can you allow your mind now when you have to fight the war? Now you are saying that I will not fight. Is that a Kshatriya dharma? He's asking. You have to do the duty born of the dharma. Kshatriya dharma is to fight. You have to kill. And you can't say, oh, I don't want to kill. I will incur sins. Who are you to say that? I have designed this world. I am the Lord. You have to just do your duty, not focusing on the end result. That is none of your business to say that. That is what the Lord is teaching him. And he's teaching him, be detached. Don't dwell in the sense objects and don't have these pairs of opposites. We can't today live in a world, nicely, because everybody is behaving atrociously. Yesterday, a very beautiful thing that happened. One lesson which constantly keeps coming to me is that you need to have patience no matter how bad the world behaves. That is my Gurudev's instruction. But sometimes the way people behave is very atrocious. It used to be a time, again, I am like my Guruji will say, this is a 1947 story, back a few decades ago, rather even a decade ago, our focus was like customer satisfaction was the key. We had to be very nice to customers. We are working for an organization and the customers are important to us because they give us the business and we have to be nice to them. Yesterday, there was a 3 incident that happened with 3 different organizations. And when I have been following up for the last 2 months, and the person who's representing that company spoke in a very rude manner, very arrogantly. And he thinks that they are, that he or she thinks that they are doing a favor to me. On the contrary, whatever has been committed has not been delivered. And I had to keep following. And finally I was frustrated. I said, what is this? Is this how your company is run? Is this how you represent your organization? Is this what your boss is telling you to do? Or has your company instructed you to do? Why are you earning a bad name to the company? And the person spoke to me in an absolute rude manner, saying things. Then I asked, let me know, who should I talk to you? Who are your super bosses? Let me know. I will have a conversation with them. And I told the person, you don't have a right to talk to me like this because you don't own the company. You're only an employee of the company. You're representing the company. So what makes you think you can speak like that? But then I understood today people who represent the organization destroy the brand name. It is not the company which is bad. It is the people who doesn't know how to represent their organization. Same goes with you as well. If you behave badly, they will say what kind of upbringing their parents have given. It shows what kind of parents you have. Everybody will talk about your parents, your institution, your school, college, your guru, your God, whoever you think you represent. And you're earning a bad name to that. So that is why conduct yourself very well. So what does Lord Shri Krishna say? How do you conduct? The man with a stable mind conducts himself in a very nice manner. He's well behaved. He's polite. He has a way to speak. He's not atrocious. He doesn't behave badly to people. He doesn't behave like a uncouth person. There is a decorum that gets followed. Therefore, Lord Shri Krishna says, we need to be very polite. We need to behave nicely. We need to conduct ourselves in a very nice manner. So, speak well, behave well, Understand, it is for your own well-being. Nobody has a bad intention to you. When my Gurudev teaches all his disciples, he doesn't mean bad to any of us. On the contrary, the reason why he teaches, gives us this knowledge is so that we become very beautiful human beings. Forget about divinity. Becoming divine is a very different ballgame. First, we have to become good human being. We have to be our good self. So our guru, our teachers, our parents, everybody is teaching so that we become somebody great in this world. To become great, you have to first become good. Goodness is only thing that will lead you on the path of the greatness. So here also, the Lord Sri Krishna is teaching. So the man who has a stable mind is not going to get disturbed by what is happening around. So my Guruji told me, it's okay, let them behave badly. Why should you get disturbed? They are allowed to. The world is not, they are not aspiring to become somebody great, or they are not aspiring to achieve something, stupendous in their life. They don't have lofty goals. They don't have an aspiration. They are going to be living a very simple life. Yeah, they'll be growing to whatever extent they want in their life, but they don't have ambitions. So they are allowed to behave whatever way they want to, but you be your good self. You don't have to speak to them in the same way they speak to you. You conduct yourself very nicely. I understand they are at fault, but we need to keep patience. What is required? Patience. Patience is the greatest virtue, and it's not so easy to achieve because we lose out. We just lose it very easily. That patience is not retained with us. So what does Lord say? He's saying, Arjuna, you be self-control. One who practices, he says here, he says, one who practices complete restraint from their sense objects, and then they are said to have a stable mind. So restraining, restraint, self-restraint, you have to practice it. Self-control, you have to control yourself. You have to practice all of these. It's easy said than done. Let me tell you, it's very hard. I'm going through this, and every single time I get different tests in my life. Those situations are, comes about. And how much patience you need to have. And it's incredible. And we waste so much of time trying to call up people, follow up. And today, that's the reason why the world is evolving towards a very different transformation. And that is called automation. Because people today, if you don't do your job right, how come the company run? How can the salaries get paid if you're not going to, perform to whatever that you have to? And then you're actually becoming a bottleneck in the, in the growth of the company, in successful delivery of whatever the timelines, the goals have to be achieved. The company has a goal. It has to do so much business. Only when the money comes can the company also pay the people. So if the people are not going to be productive and doing their job in time, the company also suffers. So you just expect your salary to be paid in time, but you don't want to perform. Does that work? It doesn't. So that is why today we are evolving on a very different revolution. I would say it's about automation. So what the companies and different organizations are doing is they're trying to automate as many, tasks possible, so that they don't have to suffer through this lack of resources or inefficient resources, and they're trying to channel the highly skilled resources towards a different jobs or activities, so that they will use the best of the both world and increase the productivity and efficiency of the organization and reduce cost and bring value and impact to the company, the people, and the customer, most importantly. So we are entering an era where customer service, though we say, customer service is the ultimate. Today, at automation, or you see the amount of data that's being collected and the analytics that is done, so that we want a happier customer, so that I can increase my customer base. But where are the organization making you happy? They don't make you happy. They treat you like you're a nobody today. So the customers are given a very bad treatment, because why? People who represent that company don't know how to behave with the customer. But then that's something, it's a big problem that exists. So you can't do anything about it. But what you can do is, you, in your own capacity, you can be your good self and you can evolve on that path. It is not about other people. And this is exactly what Lord Sri Krishna is teaching. So we should not get attached to the sense objects and dwell in it and become angry, upset, irritated, and not even bother about when somebody is praising you, saying good things about you. We get elated, We're absolutely in that high zone. We feel so nice, mighty pleased. Oh, look at them. They are praising me. They say, oh, you look beautiful. Oh, your article is very good. You have done a great job. You did a good work. No. The moment somebody praises you, please remember your fall is it's imminent. You're going to fall big time. So never take up a praise. And that's why when my Guruji says, you go tell him anything that you have done, he'll just read, or he looks at whatever you have done, or he'll taste, even if you cook a food and give it to him, offer it to him, he'll just taste and say, his answer is, what? Okay. He doesn't say anything more than that. So be happy, and that's what will make you evolve. You always have to better and better. You have to erase your bars and become the best version of yourself. So what is the Lord saying here? So let's continue from verse 70 onwards. So I've given you a complete recap of the entire chapter so far, okay? Now let us continue quickly. And he says, as the waters of different rivers enter the ocean, which, though full on all sides, remains undisturbed, likewise, he in whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance, attains peace, not he who hankers after such enjoyments. This is very beautiful. What is the Lord saying? In fact, that's exactly what I was explaining to you. It doesn't matter what anybody says. You don't need to enjoy those praises. You don't have to even feel sorry about or feel small if somebody is, calling you names or insulting you. It doesn't matter. What is he saying? The Lord is saying something very beautiful. As the waters of different rivers enter the ocean, which, though full on all sides, remains undisturbed. Likewise, he in whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance attains peace. So if somebody is saying nice things about you, are you feeling good about it? Yes. Your mind is very happy. Oh, good. Look, he called me. He said sorry to me. Your mind is happy. Why? Because we want that sorry. We are expecting that person behaved badly. He better say sorry to me. That's an expectation. But please remember, there are two things to it. If the person says sorry on his own, it's a good thing. Yes, you accept it and move on. Forget and forgive. That's what you should do. But if the person is not sorry about the actions, please remember that is the person's problem, not yours. Don't expect also when the person to say sorry. And please remember, there's a very beautiful law in this world which my Gurudev has taught, and I have experienced it. When you make a mistake, when you say bad things, or when you insult, when you behave badly, when you misbehave, when you do whatever it is which is not as per the scriptures, which is against that being your good self, when you do all these things, behaving badly, calling names, saying something wrong, one thing is there. Whether it is me or anybody, we will get our lessons, and the lesson comes from the universe. The universe is going to give you your two tight slaps. The lesson is anyway going to come to you. You think at that time, oh, just because, your mind was elated, oh, look at that. That person said sorry to me. I made that person squirm on the floor. Your ego will talk like this. Look, I have achieved it, I will make sure he or she, begs with me. Your mind is talking like this. Let me tell you, that is the arrogance of your mind. The mind is very dangerous. And when you do these kind of things in your life, let me tell you, that universe, the same universe is going to give you your own medicine. And when that medicine comes, that test comes, that two tight slaps you'll get, it's going to be very difficult to handle. And I have personally experienced this, because we all have to learn. Learning is a part of growing up. Learning is a part of the journey of evolving and becoming the best version of yourself, becoming that divine being. You have to overcome all the tendencies, that inherent nature, the impurities in your heart and mind, and only then the surrender can be complete. So what happens? You have to get these hard-hitting lessons from life. And when the life gives you those hard-hitting lessons, then you understand the truth. Then only you will be little bit able to imbibe that lesson which was taught to you. Never let your mind talk to you, and that ego is going to destroy. There's a very beautiful lesson which was taught, and once when we had visited Swami Riyananda Baba, he's no more, okay, in the sense his body has attained his, spirit, he just left the body, and today his samadhi is there, his, samadhi mandir is there in the same place. This is in Hyderabad. The place is called Kamareddy. So we had visited Kamareddy, and Riyananda Baba is a very divine being. He's a saint himself. He gave us, they were his disciples, and my Guruji, and we all had been, so my Guruji's disciples. So there was a group of people. At that time, he gave a very profound lesson. One is, he said, When you ever in your life say sorry, never say it as a lip service, because a lot of people have the habit of saying sorry because they just have to say sorry. He said, you genuinely have to feel sorry from bottom of your heart. And at that time, when you seek forgiveness, that forgiveness is accepted and the divine Lord himself does forgive you, not otherwise. This is a very beautiful lesson. How do you seek forgiveness and repent for your bad actions? It is very nicely explained in Guru Charitra. There's a very beautiful story about that and how this person actually repents. And Narsimha Saraswati, who's one of the forms of Lord Dattatreya, incarnations. So he teaches what it means to seek pardon. When does the God actually forgive your misdemeanors, your wrong actions, your sinful actions? It is only when you take it to your heart that that I will never commit this mistake again, and repent for it and consciously practice being your good self and not going back to the old ways, till the time that sorry, that forgiveness, that seeking that pardon doesn't come from the innermost being of your heart. Please remember, you are not pardoned. And you're not even sorry about your actions. And what happens when you're really not sorry about your actions? Your mind thinks, that ego which is there, oh, I did the right thing. I did this, I have achieved one up the other person. That ego is going to retain inside of you because you have not been pardoned. Your sorry is not there because you're not sorry about your actions. You think what you did is right. And that lesson will come back to you. This is the law of the universe. No matter who this person is, whoever that person might be, whether it is me, you, this whole world, we all have to learn that. This is how the universe works. This is a universal law. Similarly, Baba also taught us that, thank you. When you have to thank, you genuinely have to feel. Have you ever felt it? I've experienced it. When I'm, there are times I know when I say sorry, I'm just saying it. I know I am wrong at that moment, but I'm genuinely not feeling sorry from within. But I say sorry because it is very important to practice. Because till you don't say sorry, you're not going to be sorry at all. And my Guruji will ask me, what are you sorry about? Are you sorry about what you did? I said, I know I've done wrong or I've said something which is not correct. It's inappropriate. But I'm still not able to feel sorry from within, but I am saying sorry, but I know I will feel this. Because that's the beautiful experience I have had. And at that time, when the lesson hits you really hard, you will from your innermost being feel that need to be asked, seeking pardon from whoever that person you have hurt, you have said something bad. You will go and seek that pardon, and that pardon has to come. And with your God, you will have to seek that forgiveness. And when that comes from innermost being, then only it reaches that divine being. And then when they forgive you at that time is only then you're pardoned, not otherwise. Otherwise, you're still holding it. The other being, the gurus don't hold, the great divine masters don't hold. But it is any other human being, they are definitely going to hold that within. So that karma is still intact. It's never going to go away. So this is how it works in the world. So that time Baba said, so seek that pardon. Say sorry from the innermost being of your heart. You should feel it so intensely. Yes, what I did is wrong. And genuinely when you ask that pardon, that universe also pardons you. Then you're not going to suffer anything. Then the repercussions of that action doesn't come to you. You will be able to overcome that repercussions. And there are no any consequences that will be attached to you. Okay? So that's how it works. But if we use our self-conceit, deceit and arrogance and think, oh, I've done something great, why should I ask sorry, I don't care, this arrogance, I'm telling you, please remember my words. This is the truth which I am not talking. This is the law of the universe. This is what Lord Shri Krishna is also saying. That lesson is going to come to you, and when the universe gives you, you don't know what hit you in your life. Be ready for it. So don't have ego and arrogance. It's not worth it. Same way, when you feel thankful about anything in life, you have to, from within your being, go and say thank you for everything that God has given you. No matter you think your life is worst at this moment, I don't have this, I don't have that. no matter what it is. But please remember, he is the one who's taking care of you. Even in the worst times in your life, he's still taking care of you. He's cushioned your karma, the prarabdha karma. One very important lesson we forget: no matter what our sufferings are, whether it is health issues, whether it is money problem, whether it is to do with whatever family situations, bad situations at work, personal life, whatever that you're going through, is only because of your prarabdha karma. And what does prarabdha karma mean? It is that which we have committed in our past lives, and we have come to repay that, be it good or bad. So there's no point in blaming anybody else for your karma, for your issues. Take responsibility of your life. And if you blame someone else, please remember, you're actually going to go in further gutter. You're going downward spirals in your life. You can't rise above. Accept it and say, God, you're very kind to me. Thank you for taking care of me even in the worst situations. What is that we miss out? We don't know how worst our life could have been if not for that grace. We don't understand the truth. Why? The guru has cushioned your prarabdha karma. You're only facing 10% of that impact. 90% of your sins has been cushioned by the guru. Whether it is good or the bad, both has been cushioned. And you're literally living a very beautiful life. But we think that is the most painful thing. Oh, my life is a hell. I'm suffering so much and all these things. Nobody's doing anything to me. My God is not favoring me. This is how we look at it. Many a time I'll tell my Guruji, you should actually show people, everybody, what is their karma and what kind of life they would have had it not been for you. Because people don't value my Guruji. When they get it, they'll forget conveniently. But it is my Guru who have saved them. It's very easy to forget, because human beings' nature is to be ungrateful. And that is also one of our demonic qualities that is there. We are never grateful for what life has been bestowed upon us. We are never grateful for everything that we have. We don't thank God. We always think God is doing something bad to us. We think that life is being unfair to us. But you have to ask yourself that it is not the life who has been unfair. It is you who has earned that destiny of yours due to your past births, the karmas that you have incurred in the previous many lives of yours. That is the truth that you need to understand. And when you understand, you will be very grateful and thankful to that life. You know why? Because you have the God with you. You have your Guru with you. And that's the greatest thing that you can achieve in your life. And having that grace, you need to evolve. Redeem yourself and don't waste yourself. Don't waste your life. So here also he's saying, so don't bother about this pairs of opposites and get, enjoying. What is he saying? He in whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance attains peace, not he who hankers after such enjoyments. What does that mean? We are hankering after enjoyment. What are the enjoyments? I want somebody to praise me. I want them to appreciate me. I want them to say nice things about me. I want this, I want that, I want that. So we are hankering after such enjoyments. The enjoyments can be just, why can't the person speak nice to me, sweetly to me? Those are all our requirements. Whose requirements? The mind's requirements. So the Lord is saying, why do you want to hanker? The word is hanker. Who is hankering? The senses, your mind, your ego. Oh, look at that person. He didn't even ask. He didn't even say how I am. It's an expectation. Why are you having expectations? Why should anybody ask you? So my Guruji will always, do the opposite of what your mind is going to ask. So the mind expects, I need my Guruji to praise me. And that time he'll say, this is the worst thing you've done. Just because he doesn't want to conform to your mind's, way of wanting things. That is hankering. Your mind is hankering for that appreciation. I wish my Guruji says what I have offered, it's very nice. See, the Guruji knows when to just give you that motivation. Your job is to only keep going. Please remember one very important lesson. Don't go for this false praises. Have you seen in the corporate world or in the material world, people just will praise you to the heavens. You know what? That will put you down. And go and listen to what they have to say in your behind. They will say all nonsensical things about you. So don't go by what the world talks. The people who talk sweetly to you, and that is something you need to avoid. And that is called Madhu and Kaitab. We like sweet talkers. Sweet talkers are those who just want to talk because they want their work to be, they want something from you. They have some hidden agenda. They are never truthful to you. But those who correct you, mean good to you. My Guruji will always teach this. You need to learn to recognize a good human being. We're not talking about somebody who's divine or somebody who's great or anything. No. A good human being will have good intentions. The only reason why the Guru is constantly striving hard and correcting you endlessly is because he cares about you. He's vested in your growth. He's vested that you become a great being in this world. Whatever that greatness you have to achieve. So the Guru is always going to correct you, teach you, guide you. He's not going to pander to you. He's never going to, do things to please you. There is nothing to be pleasing you. Why should anybody please you? And if that is the way you want to learn, that is when you will become great in this world. Having that kind of teacher is very important. That is what we have to seek. In this world, nobody cares about another human being. They are only bothered about their own selfish purpose. They are only motivated for their own growth. Nobody cares about another human being. Please remember this. Even this own parents wouldn't be bothered many a time. But the great master teaches all his disciples like his own children. And that is what we have to care about and learn and go ahead. Otherwise, we will waste this life will become useless to us. You are not going to achieve anything at the end of the day. And whatever has to come because of your karma, you're anyways going to get it. Please remember one very important thing. When we serve the purpose of the Divine Lord, the Lord is anyway going to bestow the fruits which is connected with it. We are going to learn that, the verse in this scripture. Lord Shri Krishna himself has said, whatever the effort you put, whatever the hard work you are doing, whatever the service or seva that you are doing, the God is anyways going to bestow you with the fruit of that, for that service that you have done. So you're not doing it out of some, I'm doing it because I'm very selflessly serving my Guru. No, whoever it is, whatever service we do, the Divine Lord is anyways going to, bless you. You're actually going to get the blessings from him. How it comes, when it comes, is something that is not known to us. So we are not doing anything out of turn, and that is an opportunity to redeem ourselves, to wash away all the sins that we have committed in many past lives of us. So that's a very important thing. And then when you understand this truth, you will evolve. You will make your life beautiful, and you will earn that weal not only to you, but the people associated with that body. You will bring them also good weal because of you going on that path. So don't hanker after those enjoyments. Those enjoyments are not going to give you anything, which is what Lord Shri Krishna is teaching here to Arjuna. And then what is he saying? He who has given up all desires and moves free from attachment, egoism and thirst for enjoyment attains peace. Oh my God. You know what? We've been discussing the same thing over and over again. I get very tired. I don't know how Lord Shri Krishna has so much patience, trying to teach Arjuna the same thing. He's repeating the same thing in multiple ways. What is he saying? He who has given up all desires. What is a desire? Even the desire to say, I want to travel abroad. I want to go somewhere. I want to eat this good food. I want to wear a beautiful sari. I want this jewelry. I want to go on holiday. You name anything. I want to enjoy this. That the hankering after enjoyments, that is the desires. Those desires, you have to give up desires. Don't have any desire. What comes to you, accept how the Lord wants your life to be. When you surrendered yourself to the Divine Lord and accepting His way, He has already designed a beautiful future for you. Telling that, Lord, whatever is right for me, you take care of me. I'll just surrender to you. And keep doing your job. That is all you have to require. But the moment you have desires, you will suffer very badly. So what is he saying? He who has given up all desires and moves free from attachment. Moves free from attachment. Attachment is another root cause of your miseries. Attachment to your family, job, money, clothes, jewelry, whatever it is. Attachment to, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, children, wife, you name it. Grandfather, grandmother, uncle, aunt, friends, everything is an attachment. That attachment, when you have that attachment, you are not going to go anywhere. You are going to be a miserable human being. You are going to suffer. And then what? Egoism. Oh my God, I think this is a great subject. We can go on and on with this. Ego doesn't leave us. Please remember, whether it's an inflated ego, deflated ego, it's still an ego. Even if you say, I don't have an ego, it's still an ego. Actually, in fact, my Guruji had written, very beautifully, the different types of ego that exist. overcoming this ego, I, me, minus. I am the greatest, I am this, I am that, I am the lowly person. Even if you say you're high or low, it's still an ego. Inflated or deflated, ego is an ego. The moment you have this ego, you are going to be a miserable human being. Imagine tomorrow, the same person whom you love, your parents or your wife, your husband or anybody, are going to give you, galis. They're going to call you names. Then are you going to get upset? Of course you will. And then what happens? Then you're going to be suffering miserably all your life. Attachment. Why does it come? Because attachment. And that's exactly what my Guruji has been teaching. Don't have attachment to this body and the relatives associated with the body. And that is why we say, when we get initiated, we become part of Vasudev Kutumbam. You become the Guru's family is your family. But that is never understood, by the way. People come, want to get initiated. And they have a selfish agenda, there's a motivation. I want to get initiated, but I don't want to accept my Guru as my everything. No. They have their bodily families. That is who the real families are. There is a very beautiful way how the initiations are done. The day you find your Guru and he says, you want to take, he wants to initiate you. He's giving you an initiation and you accept that. What does it mean? You shave your head, you throw your old clothes, you do, when you are dead, what you do, that's exactly what you do. The entire ceremony. And then you're a newborn. Then that's why we say twice born. Then you are not the same person who had those parents and everybody else. Your new family is your Guru. Your Guru becomes everything. But that is not understood. The Guru has to be there only because he has to take my, the muck in my life, my karma, my sins. My Guru has to only do that. But I will never accept him as my family. No. If my Guru says something, I will walk out of the house. I will leave that place and go away. Why? Because my Guru said something. This is the world that we are in. This is the level of students we get today, who so really, so strong in their belief system that the Guru has no right to, scold me. He should not say certain things to me. He should not yell at me. We have our criteria of how we want to learn. Please remember, you can go to any, you can leave and go to anywhere. And please remember, that is the greatest sin you will ever incur. A very beautiful lesson in Guru Charitra. It is said that your Guru is like your father, and we say ashram mates or the people we live with. The Guru has his own koteri. We become part of Vasudev family. When you consider somebody in that position, you consider they are part of your world. And when someone says something to you, does it mean you will walk out? They care about you. They love you. That is why they want you to also become good. And it's very nicely explained in Guru Charitra, in one of the things. How do you live? And what happens during those times? And said, don't bring this ego. This ego is what comes in. I don't want, I will walk out. And the greatest sin you will ever incur is when you leave that family and walk out after having initiated, after having taken the initiation. When you leave that Guru's family and you walk out, you will incur greater sin. And please remember, there are people who have done that. And even for that karma, the Guru will have to suffer because he knows you are an ignorant being. You don't understand. But the Guru is all compassionate. His greatness is never known. I'll tell you a very beautiful thing which my Guruji has done. Someone had come to him and he warned that person, you should not be doing this because there is some events that are going to be unfavorable in your life. And he also warned that you need to be very careful about your financials because that your karma is such that it is the part of the destiny that those things are going to go away due to some bad influence. So my Guruji gave a choice, but you know what? The person didn't take the choice and walked out. You're walking out on a God. Do you know the repercussions and the consequences of that action? Of course, the person has to suffer for that karma. But it's very sad to see how people disregard somebody who's willing to save your life, save you from the destiny, from taking place and trying to avert the destiny itself, trying to cut that karma from your life. But given to your own self-conceit, the egoism, attachment, and your false desires, you walked out of that grace. And who's to be blamed? Is the God to be blamed? Is the Guru to be blamed? Or people around? You can say, oh, because that person spoke, I walked out. Very convenient. And who's going to be suffering? What is Lord Shri Krishna teaching here? Give up all desires and move free from attachment, egoism, and thirst for enjoyment. Attains peace. And what is that you need to achieve? The grace comes to you. God's grace is on everybody. But how many actually take that grace and walk that path? People just throw that, they'll kick that grace, and say wrong things and nonsensical things. That garbage from their mind, they'll throw that on other person. They throw it on the God. And who's at loss? You will have to suffer it. It's not the God who's going to suffer. Unfortunately, the Guru will definitely suffer because he knows you can't handle it. So he takes it on his body and he can only suffer so much. And because of our sins, the Guru suffers. Have you ever seen a great masters? Their stomach is always actuated. There's always a distension in their stomach. What do? Their stomach has something called the Kal Agni, the eternal fire. They burn their sins in that stomach of theirs. This is not understood to a normal human being. You don't even know what it means. But that is exactly what these great masters do. And how much they suffer? It causes, it's a suffering to the body. I can't even describe adequately in words, because till you don't go through, you will not understand that pain. The Guru suffers like this, and beyond a point, his body can't handle. Then he has to leave the body and go away. And who's the cause of it? You, me, and everybody else associated with that, with him. When we don't pay attention to what he's saying, when we don't listen to him, and when we go against his words, this is what happens. And that's exactly what Lord Shri Krishna is saying. Arjuna, such is the state of the God-realized soul. Having reached this state, he overcomes delusion, and established in this state, even at the last moment, he attains Brahmic bliss. What happens when you follow all of this? When you don't have attachment? He's talking about a God-realized being. He's talking about someone who has attained that equanimity of mind, who has attained that, he's attained that yoga. He's completely having a self-control. He has been able to restrain his, mind and senses and give up his desires and attachment and egoism. And then what happens? He's saying, Arjuna, such is the state of the God-realized soul. You know what? We have not even walked the path. Forget about achieving the God-realized. Lord Shri Krishna is giving him only the state. What is the kind of a state of a God-realized being? That is what he's described. And he's described about what we should do and not do, and how we should be able to overcome all of this. So he's saying, Arjuna, such is the state of the God-realized soul. Having reached this state, he overcomes delusion, and established in this state, even at the last moment, he attains Brahmic bliss. He attains the blissful Brahman. The Brahmic is the divine bliss he attains. So what happens? Then you're not going to, be born as a human being, or, go into that cycle of birth and death. So you're going to attain that God realization. You've already attained. You attain the divine. Even at the last moment, then nothing disturbs you in the material world. You will redeem yourself. That is what he's telling. I don't know how many people really understood the lesson. It's a very tough lesson. It's not an easy thing for a human being whose mind is not under control, whose senses are not under control, whose ego is, far excel, and it's talking dime a dozen, whether it's inflated ego or deflated ego, arrogance and all these things is pouring from head to toe. Please remember, it is very difficult to practice these lessons, but the knowledge is what the Lord Shri Krishna has imparted. The choice to you take this knowledge, to apply it in your life or not, rests with you alone. The Lord cannot fight the battle for you. Arjuna has to lift his bow and arrow and shoot. He can only impart this most profound knowledge. He is giving a choice to Arjuna. And if you, get into your mind's self-conceit and deceit and choose that I am not going to fight, and then, the next, we have many chapters to go through. We have just finished 2. We have next 16 chapters to learn what all Lord Shri Krishna is saying, and what are the things, the repercussions of or the consequences of our action, whether we choose to do or not do, is what he is going to impart. This is the most esoteric knowledge. And please remember, in this knowledge which the Lord has expounded, the exposition that he has given here can help you both in your material world, not just in your material personal, but definitely in your spiritual will. In your spiritual world, it helps you attaining your spiritual will. So he's actually giving you a complete secret of how do you redeem yourself from this mundane existence. How do you live in this world like the lotus leaf, untouched by the water, around it, untouched by the water. You're not going to be contaminated with what is happening around you. You're going to be living in the most blissful state by just doing your duties, born of your karma. You're following your swadharma, which is based on the dharma alone. That is what you're doing. So the choice to use this knowledge to become a good human being also rests with you alone. Whatever you want to take it from this is up to you. Like my Guruji, he always says, look, I can teach, I can tell you don't do, but beyond a point, if you don't listen, whatever the repercussions or the consequences of your action, you're the ones who's going to suffer it. Nobody else can suffer for that. So please use this life lessons to become very good human being and evolve on the path of spirituality so that you can attain your spiritual will. With this, we have come to an end of the second chapter. So thus, in the Upanishad, sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the second chapter entitled Sankhyayoga, the yoga of knowledge. So, see you all in the next satsang in chapter 3. Thank you all for joining Sri Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as imparted by Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara, Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Guru Nathanataya, Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.